Israeli troops have reportedly begun crossing into southern Lebanon, saying that they would destroy Hezbollah military infrastructure in villages close to the Israel-Lebanon border.
이스라엘군이 레바논 접경지 인근의 헤즈볼라 군사 인프라를 파괴할 목적으로 국경을 넘어 레바논 남부에서 지상전을 개시한 것으로 전해졌습니다. Tell us more.
Well, this has been going on for a year. Hezbollah has had a year-long rocket campaign against Israel. And then a couple of weeks ago, Israel really retaliated in force. They've killed hundreds of people, according to the Lebanese health ministry. And now they've started this ground operation. And they're targeting sites that they say pose an immediate threat to Israeli communities in northern Israel. And for those who've already seen the news in the past few hours, we've also had Iran responding. They fired 180 or so ballistic missiles into Israel overnight.
Yep.
Israel has the Iron Dome, as they call it, which is their defense system to protect them against it. But they have vowed to retaliate. So it's a very tense day, and I think it's going to be a very tense week in the Middle East.
Most of those 180 missiles, I believe, have been intercepted. But
Yes.
nonetheless, as we can see, it's the situation is really intense in the region we're talking about here. 자, 중동 지역에서 지금 이스라엘을 이렇게 지상전을 개시했다. ground operation, launched 됐다. 이런 표현도 나오고 있고요. 그다음에는 이제 좀 업데이트된 소식으로 이란에서 이스라엘을 향해 미사일을 굉장히 많이 지금 발사한 상황인데 대부분은 이제 가로챘다 아니면 요격하다라고 하는 intercepted 이렇게 표현하죠. 대부분은 intercepted가 됐다고 합니다만 그래도 지금 이제 여러 가지 확전이라는 말이 좀 조심스럽습니다만 여러 가지 지금 긴장 상황이 펼쳐지고 있어요.
It should be said that Iran informed the world they were going to do it before they did it,
Yep.
like they did previously a few weeks ago. So it's more of a demonstration, perhaps, of their force.
Yep.
It's not a surprise attack, but still, it's very, very worrying. And I think we're gonna see the news unfolding in the next few days.
Exactly. All right, if you cross into an area, what are you doing?
Well, you go from one area to another. So we could be talking about crossing into a different country, but you could well cross into a different neighborhood, into a different district.
Yeah.
When you go from Gyeonggi-do to Gangwon-do, you're crossing into a different province. So we use this term for when someone or some group or something is moving from one area to another.
cross into 어디라고 하면은 어디로 건너가다라는 뜻이 있죠. 어디에 그 국경선을 넘다가 될 수도 있고 경계를 넘다가 될 수도 있습니다. In this case, we're looking at Israeli troops crossing into Lebanon because Hezbollah is, of course, a Lebanese group, Lebanese Israeli, Islamist political group, and so. There's a big conflict between the two sides.
There's been conflict for many, many, many years. What we're seeing here in the past year is the culmination of tensions that have risen over the past 70, 80 years.
Exactly. What's military infrastructure?
It's difficult to translate, Sue. It's infra.
Exactly.
Yeah, so in Korean we say infra, we say infrastructure in English, and it means all the bits and pieces. If we talk about public infrastructure, it can be roads and public transportation and hospitals and that kind of thing. If we're talking about military infrastructure, it's their bases, their buildings, their weapons storage facilities, their vehicles, all that kind of thing.
자, 군사 인프라, 군사 시설, 영어로는 military infrastructure라고 합니다. Here's the headline again. Israeli troops have reportedly begun crossing into southern Lebanon, saying they would destroy Hezbollah military infrastructure in villages close to the Israel-Lebanon border. Let's move on to the next headline.
German inflation fell to its lowest level since February 2021 last month, according to preliminary data, helping European central bank doves build their case for another interest rate cut this month.
지난달 독일 소비자물가 상승률이 2021년 2월 이후 최저치를 기록한 것으로 잠정 집계된 가운데 유럽중앙은행 온건파가 이달 추가적인 금리 인하를 단행할 가능성이 커졌습니다. All right, so what do we know?
Well, the good news for Germany was they did better than expected for September. They were predicting 1.9% for inflation,
Okay.
But it was actually only 1.8%. So this means that the ECB, the European Central Bank, could be looking at cutting interest rates. They've done that twice this year, and their target is 2% inflation. So for Germany to get 1.8 is very, very good, because that means that there's a good chance that maybe they can do that. They're thinking that for the whole Eurozone, it's expected to go down to 1.9 for September. We still haven't got the full data. We've only got the preliminary data.
Right.
But we could be seeing changes in terms of the ECB and its attitude towards interest rates.
Now, talking about the attitude of the ECB, there are two sides. One would be the doves, the others would be the hawks.
Yes, and not the pigeons.
But there's obviously it's a reference to the birds, because if you think of a dove, it's very sort of peaceful, but a hawk, it attacks. And so hawks generally are members of the bank who tend to want tighter monetary policies.
Yes.
And then doves are the people who want looser monetary policies. 자, 이제 갑자기 웬 비둘기냐 하셨을 수도 있는데요. 이 doves라는 게 비유적으로 쓰이는 겁니다. 그래서 이제 여러 가지 그 재정적인 정책들이 조금 더 이제 느슨하게 갔으면 하는 온건파는 doves라고 부릅니다. 반대는 이제 hawks가 되겠고요.
네. And to be clear, because in Korean, they're all 비둘기.
Yeah,
but
in English,
doves are white,
that's right.
and they're the symbol. You'll see them in the Bible, for example, when Noah was on the ark, he sent off a dove to bring back an olive branch. They're a symbol of peace and love and harmony.
I've always found that to be quite curious, because in Korea, as you said, we just have one word for the two birds. 서양에서는 하얀 비둘기와 회색 비둘기를 지칭하는 단어가 달라요, 완전히. 그래서 하얀 비둘기는 평화를 상징하죠. 그게 dove고, 그 다음에 우리가 흔히 보는 이 회색 비둘기는 pageant.
네.
완전히 이미지가 다르고 그냥 약간 다른 새처럼 사람들이 받아들이는 것 같아요. 적어도 이미지만큼은. 그런데 자, 여기서 이제 그 유럽중앙은행의 온건파, 강경파 말고 doves. 자, 그런 표현이 있고요. Preliminary data we're looking at.
Yes, if we have preliminary data, we have some data, but it's only the first set or the first stage. We will get more data. It's not the final data. It's not the finalized data that we want, but it's the first stage of it, so we can get a rough estimate maybe or get a prediction for the future.
Exactly. Preliminary라는 것은 예비, 사전에 무엇이라는 뜻이죠. 우리 축구에서도 preliminary rounds, 그러면 예선전이죠.
Or in hospital, you have a preliminary examination before you maybe have your full examination.
그렇죠. 먼저 하는 무언가를 preliminary라고 하는데 여기서는 잠정 집계된 데이터, preliminary data가 되겠습니다. 자, to build one's case. Let's look at that.
Sue, over the next half an hour, I will prove to you absolutely that I know the meaning of this expression. I will show you pages from the dictionary. I will show you websites that contain usages of this expression. And I will prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that I understand it, even if you don't.
Okay, well, I think you've built your case.
I have. I've shown you all the evidence. I've given you all the proof. I've been persuasive, because that's what it means to build one's case. And you'll often see this used in terms of wanting to get a promotion, or maybe there's a lawyer trying to prove their client is guilty or not guilty.
Yep.
They will get all the evidence, all the information. But it's not just information gathering. It's also persuading other people. It's saying, this is what we should do.
So this is a difficult one, but to translate it in Korean, it would be 주장을 뒷받침하다. Build one's case. 그러니까 아까 얘기했던 European Central Bank의 doves들이 그 rate cut를 계속 단행하고 싶어 했어요. 그런데 이제 여러 가지 상황으로 봤을 때 독일의 소비자 물가가 그 상승률이 최저치를 기록했고, 지금 이 상황은 우리가 주장하는 대로 그 interest rate cut를 하기에 좋은 상황입니다. 주장을 뒷받침할 만한 상황이다라고 얘기를 하겠죠. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. German inflation fell to its lowest level since February 2021 last month, according to preliminary data, helping European Central Bank doves build their case for another interest rate cut this month. And moving on, here's our next headline.
International media outlets have turned the spotlight on Korean fashion model Choi Soon-hwa, who, at the age of 81, became the oldest contestant in the Miss Universe Korea pageant.
올해 미스 유니버스 국내 대회에서 81세의 나이로 도전에 최고령 참가자가 된 모델 최순화 씨의 사연이 외신에서도 집중 조명됐습니다. And this was the first year they decided to get rid of the age limit, right?
Yeah, and good for them to do it because I think it's important. I think she may be the only contestant in the history of Miss Universe to
In
be
Korea,
older,
at least, yeah.
well, to be older than the contest itself.
Oh, right.
She was born almost a decade before it started in 1952.
True, yeah.
She is the oldest ever participant. She's 80 years old. She did not win, but she did take home the Best Dresser award. And my goodness, she looked fabulous.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she feels fabulous because she's got all this attention from all over the world. I'm sure she's going to be doing a world tour anyway to sort of show off how amazing she is.
Yeah.
The thing is, we've had this age limit, 18 to 28, which is ridiculous. Well, you can be Miss Universe at any age or Mr. Universe at any age. So they updated the terms last year. You can be a mother, you can be married, you can be pregnant, you can be anybody as long as you're over the age of 18. They've also brought it into the 21st century. They've removed the swimsuit competition and they've opened the contest to many, many more women.
Yep.
Quick congratulations to Han Ariel,
Yes.
22-year-old fashion student who has won the Korean Miss Universe. She's going to go to the 73rd Miss Universe pageant in Mexico City in November. Good luck to her.
Absolutely. Yeah, as you said, this World Universe pageant, this contest, it's held first of all regionally, so each country has their own world Miss World Universe.
Miss Universe.
Miss Universe, thank you.
Yeah, because there's a Miss World and then
that's
there's
right.
a Miss Universe. Two different things.
Confused. So in Korea, first of all, we had our own Miss Universe contest where, as you said, Han Ariel won. She's 22 years old. However, the spotlight is on 81-year-old Choi Soon-hwa. CNN and other media outlets have really focused on her because even though she didn't win, she is the oldest contestant in Korea and she did actually get a prize for Best Dresser.
Yes.
So good for her. And she's gorgeous. I saw photos and I think, this is wonderful.
It is. We should be celebrating people no matter their age. And it's really good to see a senior citizen say, well, if those young'uns can do it, why can't I?
맞습니다. 원래는 참가 연령이 18세에서 28세였는데 올해 처음으로 이 연령 제한을 이제 없애기로 했어요. 그래서 우리나라의 이 미스 월드 코리아 대회에서
미스 유니버스요.
제가 이름을 계속 잘못 말했네요. 미스
세상 말고 우주입니다.
네, 미스 유니버스 코리아 여기에서 이제 출전을 했었고 우승은 못해서 국제 무대에는 진출 못했지만 그럼에도 불구하고 많은 스포트라이트를 받고 있는 81세의 최순화 씨가 되겠습니다. 이제 우리나라는 67회의 미스 유니버스 코리아 대회였고요. 그다음에 이제 국제 무대로 가게 되는데 국제 무대는 73회. 그게 이제 바로 미스 유니버스
네.
그 국제 대회가 되는 거죠.
Are you entering next year?
저도 참가할까요?
I would enter, but I don't think I qualify.
실소가 나오네요. 참. 그래서 네 그렇습니다. 자 우리 이제 첫 번째 표현을 볼 텐데 a lot of media outlets are turning their spotlight on Choi Soon-hwa.
Yeah, meaning they're focusing on her. Because what is a spotlight? Well, it is the focus light used in a theatre or a concert hall that focuses on one person in particular and puts a very strong light on them so the audience will look at them. So if we turn the spotlight on someone, we're really focusing on them and we're telling everyone else, look at them over there.
Exactly. 집중하다, 주목하다라는 뜻이 되겠죠. And a contestant is?
Someone who participates in a competition, a participant.
그렇죠. 참가자가 되겠습니다. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. International media outlets have turned the spotlight on Korean fashion model Choi Soon-hwa, who at the age of 81 became the oldest contestant in the Miss Universe Korea pageant. And that's it for today's headlines.